Hello and welcome to the channel. It's me, Chris Brooks. I recorded a podcast with a guy called Andy a little while ago. The podcast is due to air towards the latter half of December, so do keep an eye out for that. But he sent me some paperwork that he's used, which has helped stop the courts from, well, you know what this channel's about, or partly what this channel's about. It's about beating the system. And so he's basically compiled a page which he thinks would be very handy for you guys to watch and to take notes, copy it, whatever you want to do for your own situation. Obviously it's YouTube, so I can't upload a PDF because YouTube doesn't work like that. So if you want the PDF, head on over to my Patreon and you will be able to get it from there. Okay, but if not, just pen and paper, pause, stop, and just do that. But yeah, very interesting. Let me know what you think. Speak to you all again soon. Bye.
Your name, your address, city, state, zip code, email address, phone number, date, recipient's address, city, state, zip code. Subject: requirement for compliance with terms and conditions. Dear recipient, I am writing to clarify my position regarding any future communications or agreements between us. Please be advised that any communication or contract proposed to me must fully comply with the terms and conditions regarding unsolicited contracts and bills attached below. Specifically, I require that any unsolicited contract or bill presented must include proof of agreement. No implied contracts or quasi-contracts will be recognized. All communications must adhere to the definitions and protocols outlined in the aforementioned terms. Until such compliance is established, I do not recognize you and will not accept any joinder or agreement. Thank you for your understanding and cooperation in this matter. Sincerely, your name. Terms and conditions regarding unsolicited contracts and bills. 1. Introduction. These terms and conditions, terms, are applicable to any party, recipient, that receives an unsolicited contract or bill from any organization or individual. By accepting these terms, the recipient asserts that no legally binding contract exists unless explicitly agreed upon by both parties. 2. Definitions. Contract, an agreement between parties that is legally enforceable. Unsolicited contract, any contract or agreement presented to the recipient without prior consent or request, including but not limited to verbal agreements, written contracts, and electronic agreements. Bill. An itemized statement of money owed for services rendered or goods received, presented unsolicited without an established contract or prior agreement. Proof of agreement. Documentation that objectively demonstrates the explicit consent of the recipient to the terms of a contract, including but not limited to signed documents, confirmations via electronic means, or other verifiable agreements. Implied contract. A contract inferred from the actions, behavior, or circumstances of the parties involved rather than explicitly stated. Quasi-contract. A legal construct imposed by a court to prevent unjust enrichment when no actual contract exists. 3. Statutory fines. Any attempts to impose fines or penalties on the recipient without documented proof of consent to be governed by such terms are considered void. All claims for statutory fines must be accompanied by clear evidence of prior agreement and consent from the recipient. The absence of such proof will render any claims for statutory fines unenforceable. 4. Voiding. Implied contracts and quasi-contracts. The recipient does not consent to any implied contracts or quasi-contracts arising from actions or circumstances without explicit agreement. Any such implied contracts are hereby declared void. The recipient requires clear, written documentation for any agreements to be valid and enforceable. 5. Recipient's rights. The recipient has the following rights: to receive contracts or bills only with accompanying proof of agreement, explicitly agreed upon by the recipient. To request and obtain clarification regarding any unsolicited contract or bill, including evidence of prior consent and the basis for any charges asserted. To reject any unsolicited contract or bill outright if no proof of agreement is provided. To seek legal remedies, including but not limited to damages or injunctions, in the event of unsolicited contracts or bills without proper documentation of consent. 6. Communication protocols. To ensure transparency and clarity, all communications regarding contracts or bills must be in writing and legible, sent via recognized postal services or secure electronic means. The recipient shall communicate their refusal of unsolicited contracts or bills promptly and without delay to ensure clear understanding between parties. 7. Clarification of dictionary and style manual. In the interest of transparency and certainty, both parties are required to clarify the dictionary and style manual employed in any communication. Definitions and terms must be consistent with the agreed-upon dictionary or legal manual, ensuring clarity in interpretation. Any ambiguity arising from differing interpretations of terms will be resolved by referencing the specified dictionary and style manual. 8. Dispute resolution. In the event of any disputes arising from unsolicited contracts or bills, both parties shall attempt to resolve the matter amicably through direct communication. If direct communication fails, mediation will be sought as a necessary step before pursuing legal action. Mediation sessions will be conducted at a mutually agreed location and should occur within a timeframe of insert reasonable timeframe, ensuring expediency in dispute resolution. 9. Legal and lawful enforcement. These terms are intended to be legally binding and enforceable. By accepting these terms, both parties acknowledge and agree to uphold its provisions and abide by all applicable laws governing such agreements and transactions in the relevant jurisdiction. 10. Final provisions. These terms may be updated from time to time to reflect changes in law or policy. Any changes to these terms will be communicated clearly and in a timely manner to all parties involved, ensuring ongoing awareness of obligations. If any provision of these terms is found to be invalid or unenforceable, the remaining provisions shall continue to be valid and enforceable to the maximum extent permitted by law.